Mid-fishing by the river in the dead of night, I was once again stopped and interrogated by a handsome police officer who suspected me of disposing of a body. I tried to explain, I'm just here to fish. He didn't believe me. Where's your bait? Helpless, I replied, the fish ate it all. He pressed on, where's your fishing rod? I sighed. The fish pulled it away. The officer smirked. Where are the fish? I've been watching you for half an hour, and you haven't caught a single one. Are you part of the Air Force team? That hit a nerve. I yelled, haha, actually, I'm the killer. I'm the killer. Arrest me. Please, arrest me now. All night, I couldn't catch even a small fish. I'd rather be the killer. I guess the handsome police officer didn't expect a few questions to break me down so completely. He quickly tried to comfort me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. It's just, I really didn't think you were here to fish. Because your bucket is too clean. Hearing that, I cried even harder. Officer, are you comforting me or rubbing salt in my wounds? The officer handed me a tissue, still unwilling to give up, and continued to ask. If you couldn't catch any fish, did you catch anything else? I sniffled and replied, I caught a shoe, does that count? He nodded quickly. It counts. Where's the shoe? I pointed towards the pond. I was so mad I threw it back in the water. He took a deep breath. Exactly where? Can we retrieve it? I awkwardly shook my head. It's hard. Earlier, another Air Force guy got so mad, he jumped in and swam with the fish. The shoe probably got kicked away. The officer clicked his tongue softly, frowned, and called his colleagues to retrieve the shoe. Curious, I asked, is something wrong, officer? He didn't answer but asked in return, did you encounter anything strange? Strange things? Plenty. I slapped my thigh. This pond right here, I've been coming here for 5 days, sitting for at least 3 hours each day. And I haven't caught a single fish. You tell me, isn't that strange? He smiled faintly. Just bad luck, don't overthink it. I cursed silently to myself, bad luck my foot. Clearly, there's a problem. Is there anyone in the world who fishes continuously for a week and doesn't catch anything? I don't believe it. I was about to continue defending myself when the officer's colleague arrived. Officer Liu, how are things on your end? As soon as he saw me, his eyes lit up. Did you catch the suspect? The handsome officer waved his hand. This girl is just here to fish. What? The other man couldn't believe it. Fishing? But why is her bucket empty? This pond was stocked with 3,000 pounds of fish, and she couldn't catch even one? Enough. I'm serious, enough. You two are truly heartless and cold. Remember to keep one eye open while you sleep tonight and take turns keeping watch. Stop talking. Officer Lu Mingshan, unable to bear my sorrowful gaze, patted his colleague's shoulder. There shouldn't be any problem here. Let's go check the area next door. Though distressed and resentful, I trudged along behind them. Where are you going? Lu Mingshan raised a hand to stop me. I pouted. To retrieve my fishing rod. I have a big one still set up over there. Only then did he let go, and as we walked, he asked. Do you know the other anglers here? I nodded and shook my head simultaneously. Sort of. I recognize their faces, but I don't know any of their names. Lu Mingshan oed quietly. Are any of them suspicious looking? I replied with a blank expression. Loads of them, officer. You have to understand, anglers are in one of two states, either very calm or very crazy. Like me right now, on the outside I look calm, but inside, I want to jump into the pond and fight the fish. Lu Mingshan suppressed a laugh. Then jump later. Just answer a few questions first. As we talked, we reached my fishing rod. He leaned down to observe the water's surface. Seeing no movement, I felt despair. So hurry up and ask your questions, I'm about to jump in. Lu Mingshan quickly pulled me back. Don't stim. Before he could finish, the water's surface suddenly stirred, the fishing float trembled, and then began to drift away. I froze, then joyfully lunged forward and pulled the rod. It's on. It's on. I got a fish. It must be a big fish, it felt very heavy, I couldn't pull it up in one go, nearly hurting my back. Seeing this, Lu Mingshan rushed to help. Slowly, don't rush. But I ignored him, continuously yelling. Net. Where's the net? Give me the net. He glanced around. No net. Oh God, I finally get a big fish after a year, and on this very day, I didn't bring a net? No problem. I gritted my teeth. No net, I'll pull it by hand. It's just one fish, at most 20 kilograms. I don't believe I can't pull it up. I had overestimated myself. This fish felt at least 80 kilograms. Luckily, it didn't struggle much. Lu Mingshan and I pulled for nearly half a minute, finally dragging the dark shape to the surface. This fish seems a bit strange, doesn't it? The closer it got, the more my face contorted. Why is this fish rectangular? Good news, I didn't go home empty-handed today. Bad news, what I pulled up wasn't a fish. Late at night by the pond, the red and blue lights of the police cars flashed incessantly. I squatted by the water's edge, clutching my heavy-duty fishing rod, tears welling in my eyes. I'm so sorry, my beloved rod. Since you came into my possession, I haven't caught a single fish, but instead, I've caught a piece of a person. Is the fishing rod damaged? Can it still be used? I looked up, meeting Lu Mingshan's handsome face. Seeing him, my sadness lessened a bit. It's fine. My rod has a maximum load capacity of 130 kilograms. Though, in reality, I'd never caught a fish over 30 kilograms. Lu Mingshan nodded, his eyes in the dim light looking surprisingly gentle. If there's any damage, just let us know. After all, you helped us retrieve a body, and the police can offer some compensation. Hearing this, I immediately wiped away my tears, rather dramatically. Actually, there is damage, Officer Lu, severe psychological damage, and it needs immediate soothing. Lu Mingshan suppressed a laugh. So, later, I'll give you a commendation flag, shall I? With King of Fishing written on it? I choked. You're not mocking me, are you? Before he could answer, an incredibly strong foul odor assailed us, so pungent it seemed to spread for 10 miles, making anyone who smelled it want to cry. What is that? I nearly gagged, quickly covering my nose. Lu Mingshan looked in that direction. The forensics team just opened the suitcase. Hearing that, I instinctively turned my head to look, but before I could see anything, Lu Mingshan blocked my view. Don't look. He put a hand over my eyes, gently pushing me back with slight force. If you see it, you won't sleep for a month. I blinked, knowing he was doing it for my good, and obediently stepped back, standing behind the police car. Only when we were completely out of the suitcase's range did Lu Mingshan remove his hand. It's late. Let me take you home. I was a bit stunned, still picturing the suitcase in my mind. Hey. Lu Mingshan waved a hand in front of my face. What are you thinking about, looking so blank? I snapped out of it, pulling his hand and pointing towards the suitcase. That suitcase. I think I've seen it somewhere before. It's not I think, I'm sure I've seen it before. The site has a flower pattern, it's very familiar. Lu Mingshan paused at my words, instantly becoming serious. Really? Then try to remember. This could be a very important clue for the case. Of course, I understood, but the more I tried to remember, the more my mind became muddled, unable to recall anything. My brain felt like it was burning, but my thoughts were like thick mud. Seeing my struggle, Lu Mingshan took out his phone. Then leave your contact information. If you remember anything later, report it to me immediately. I nodded vigorously, then exchanged phone numbers with him. He looked at me and asked, "What's your name?" I replied, "My surname is Wen Yen." "Alright," he breathed softly. "It's late, let me take you home. Remember to come to the police station tomorrow to give your statement. As for that suitcase, try to recall it when you get home." I waved my hand. "It's fine, I drove here, I can go home myself." But Lu Mingshan was insistent. "It's late, and it's not safe for a girl to go alone. My colleague will drive your car back for you." Since he said that, I couldn't really refuse. I thought to myself that he was truly handsome and kind, so I happily got into the car. At first, I chatted a bit with Lu Mingshan, but then I got too sleepy to talk, leaning my head against the window, thinking and trying to recall the pattern on the suitcase. That flower, it was so familiar, where had I seen it before? Ah! Oh my God! The car braked suddenly, and before I could react, I lurched forward, the seatbelt painfully tightening across my chest. "What's wrong?" I asked, rubbing my chest. "We're at your residential area," Lu Mingshan pointed to the security gate ahead. "I'll register quickly, then take you right to your door." I was about to say he didn't need to bother, it was only a few steps, but he had already rolled down the window, greeted the security guard, and completed the procedure in a few words. "So dedicated to the people," I murmured. Hearing that, Lu Mingshan just smiled. "That's how it should be." The car stopped downstairs. I unbuckled my seatbelt. "Thank you, Officer Lu. You should go home and rest early too." He looked at me, his eyes holding an indescribable emotion. "It's fine. Remember to come to the police station tomorrow." I nodded repeatedly. "I know." Lu Mingshan still hadn't opened the car door but emphasized again, "You must come." I thought to myself, am I losing my mind that you have to keep repeating it? But under his deep gaze, the sarcastic words I was about to say were swallowed back. "I will definitely come." He seemed satisfied at last and pressed the button to unlock the car door for me to get out. When I got home, I showered and cleaned up. By the time I was done, it was almost dawn. I leaned against the railing to dry my hair, trying to keep my eyelids open while waiting for the washing machine to finish. I happened to glance down and saw a very familiar car. Wasn't that Lu Mingshan's car? He hadn't left yet? Carrying my doubts, I picked up my phone and called him. He answered quickly. "Why haven't you left yet?" I asked, surprised. There was a slight pause on the other end, and his voice suddenly sounded a little strange. "Are you stalking me?" Helpless, I replied, "I just happened to see your car while drying my clothes. Who has the time to?" "Wait a minute." As I said that, I suddenly realized, "You're the one stalking me, aren't you?" No, he didn't admit it, just said casually, "The car ran out of gas, probably can't drive back to the station, waiting for a colleague to pick me up." I couldn't bother guessing how much of that was true and how much was made up. I just said, explaining to myself, "You really don't need to follow me, it's a waste of effort. I'm just an innocent citizen who loves fishing." He seemed to chuckle softly, not arguing, just asked, "Have you remembered anything about the suitcase yet?" I yawned widely. "Not yet, officer. I'm so sleepy my brain shut down, can't remember anything else." "Okay, then you rest first, we'll talk after you wake up." From his tone, I knew, he still wasn't planning on leaving. Amused and helpless, I blurted out, "What can you monitor sitting downstairs? My complex has 4 entrances and exits. If you want to follow me, it'd be more convenient to just come inside." The other end of the line went silent for a moment, he probably caught my sarcastic tone. Just as I was about to hang up, his voice suddenly rang out. "That sounds reasonable. I'll come right up then, what room number are you?" "Huh? I was just kidding?" Just as I was starting to regret my words, Lu Mingshan chuckled. "Just kidding. My colleague is here, you should go to bed early. I'm heading back." After hanging up, I still stood on the balcony looking down. Sure enough, I saw the police officer with his team appear. Lu Mingshan got out of the car and walked with the other officer towards the complex gate. But after a few steps, he suddenly stopped. Then he turned around. His eyes immediately found me hiding on the balcony. The moment our eyes met, my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. I suddenly felt like I had been caught red-handed doing something bad. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Lu Mingshan. "It's very windy on the balcony, go to bed early." I looked up again, but downstairs, there was no one. It seemed he really had left. Could it be, he wasn't monitoring me? I scratched my head. My sleepy brain couldn't be bothered to analyze it anymore. After hanging up my clothes, I climbed into bed and went straight to sleep. The next morning, I woke up past 10. Lu Mingshan had sent a message at 8, telling me to come to the police station to give my statement whenever it was convenient. I was so tired that I lazily texted back okay. Before I could even lie down again, my phone rang. It was him calling. "Are you awake?" I yawned widely and resentfully. "Officer Lu, are you treating me like a criminal? You're too closely tracking me." "Don't worry, I won't run. I'll come, please stop repeating yourself." He chuckled, his voice tinged with helplessness. "No, I just wanted to let you know that the road near the station is under construction, and traffic is heavy. If you're awake and ready, I can pick you up." Oh. So, I was wrongly accusing a good person? After scratching my head and ears for a while, I stammered awkwardly, "So, what will you pick me up in?" "I get carsick easily, taking the bus would be a nightmare." He chuckled softly, "Not a bus. Just wait for me." He arrived very quickly. About 20 minutes later he called me downstairs. I could hear the wind whistling on his end, secretly wondering if he flew there on the wind. So fast? As soon as I reached the courtyard, I saw a black motorcycle speeding towards me from afar. The rider wore black clothes and a black helmet, looking incredibly cool and charismatic. Wen Yin. The bike braked in front of me, and the rider took off his helmet, revealing Lu Mingshan's handsome face. He raised an eyebrow at me, hooking his finger slightly. "Get on." "Oh my god, girls, he's incredibly handsome." I swallowed hard, instinctively taking a step forward when I heard his call, but then immediately remembered something and looked down at the dress I was wearing. If you had told me earlier that you were riding a motorcycle, I wouldn't have worn a dress. Lu Mingshan's cool demeanor faltered. He scratched his head, a little embarrassed. "My fault. Or would you like to go change?" I sighed. "You're making me go up and down again, aren't you?" Hearing that, Lu Mingshan immediately got off his bike and followed me. "Then I'll come with you." I stopped, looking at him suspiciously. "Are you trying to find an excuse to come into my apartment? To secretly look for clues to see if I'm the killer who disposed of the body?" Lu Mingshan laughed, gently patting my head. "Are you that wary of me? If I really suspected you were the culprit, I would have taken you straight to the station last night." "Alright, fine, for the sake of him being a man of the people, I'll temporarily believe him. I live on the 6th floor, the last apartment at the end of the east hallway." To prove his innocence, Lu Mingshan didn't step inside my apartment but stood with his arms crossed, waiting outside the door. "Done, let's go." After changing, I pushed the door open and patted his shoulder. "What are you looking at so thoughtfully?" Lu Mingshan pointed into the distance. "This area has a great location. There's an elementary school in front, and across the street is a kindergarten. It's a prime location in a good school district." Hearing that, I pouted. "I haven't moved here long, so this isn't considered a school district house yet. But it's noisy every morning. I hear the broadcast bell 8 times a day, and that's not a kindergarten, it's a welfare." Wait. At this point, I suddenly stopped, then widened my eyes and slapped his shoulder hard. "I remember now. I remember where I saw that suitcase. That probably isn't a suitcase, or at least not one for travel. It's a storage box," I said, pulling Lu Mingshan and rushing down the stairs, going so fast I almost tripped. "Slow down. Lu Mingshan reacted quickly, steadying me and frowning. Always so rushed and impatient. I heard a hint of exasperation and familiarity in his voice, but at the moment, the main priority was the case. Welfare homes often receive donated items from organizations and individuals. The items are sorted and put into different boxes, then distributed to the children by age. I used to volunteer there and I saw that box. I think it was for the junior kindergarten class. The welfare home was not far from my complex, just as Lu Mingshan said, only one street away. He drove me on his motorcycle, and it only took 3 minutes to get there. Since it was a weekday, there weren't many visitors. Knowing Lu Mingshan's identity and purpose, the vice director personally came out to greet us. A box with a floral pattern? We do have many of those here. The vice director thought for a moment, but there haven't been any reports of missing items recently. Maybe it's just a common pattern, those designs are sold widely on the market. That made sense. Even though the pattern was more unique than regular boxes, it wasn't exclusive to this place. Lu Mingshan remained silent, pondering, then asked, "Has anyone in the institution changed recently? Are the children's conditions still normal? Changes?" The vice director flipped through the personnel records. Nothing major. Teachers and support staff are stable, at most someone might have taken leave. As for the people who handle deliveries, they're external contractors, not on our staff list, so we don't have specific records. Leave? Lu Mingshan pressed. Has anyone taken leave recently? Our director has rheumatoid arthritis, she couldn't get up during the recent heavy rains. And another teacher went to the next city to conduct a follow-up survey for an adopted family, she's expected back tomorrow. After the preliminary questions, the vice director also gave us a tour of the facility, checking the floral patterned boxes. Everything seemed normal. But Lu Mingshan's expression remained tense. When we reached the gate of the welfare home, I finally asked, "Do you suspect there's a problem here?" "Hard to say." He turned to look at the white-walled, red-tiled building, his brows furrowed tightly. Last night, the forensics team provided a preliminary conclusion. The body part found in the box belongs to a woman. I suspect it might be the teacher who's currently away on the survey. The body was not intact, and until DNA matching results were available, the identity could not be confirmed. Lu Mingshan immediately reported the situation back to the bureau. I then asked him, "So, does that mean I don't need to go to the station to give a statement anymore?" Lu Mingshan thought for a moment, then led me to a quiet coffee shop nearby, chose a corner spot, and sat down. "What do you know about this welfare home?" I recalled my time volunteering there. It's not a large place, but it receives quite a lot of donations every year. I also heard that children get adopted every year. What about the staff? Lu Mingshan asked while scanning a QR code to order drinks. Seeing this, I tilted my head and glanced at the ordering screen. I don't like anything matcha flavored. Lu Mingshan didn't even look up. "I know, keep talking." I froze. "Huh? You know?" His hand paused slightly, then he looked up at me, raising an eyebrow slightly. Oops, slip of the tongue. His expression and tone were so strange that a shiver ran down my spine. I quickly grabbed my bag, intending to run, almost bumping into the chair next to me. "Hey!" Lu Mingshan was also startled, losing his calm demeanor, and quickly supported me. "Be careful. Hitting this table corner hard could break a bone." But at this moment, I didn't care about breaking bones or not. I immediately shook off his hand and raised my bag as if it were a weapon. "Don't come any closer. Otherwise, I'll call the police." Lu Mingshan chuckled. "If you call, chances are the person who comes to handle it will still be me." I was speechless but still refused to back down. You're a police officer, can you just harass girls casually? And you even know my preferences. Are you a pervert? I'm telling you. I have a boyfriend. If you can't handle it, I'll let him deal with you privately. Lu Mingshan froze at this, squinting at me, his tone carrying an unpredictable implication. You have a boyfriend? Are you sure, Wen Yan? What's there to be unsure about? I'm the one in the relationship, wouldn't I know? Even though it's an online relationship, even though we've lost contact for a month, even though we've never met. But, he's real. So I immediately nodded, of course. My boyfriend is 1.88 meters tall, big and strong. I just need to make one call and he'll be right here, so don't you dare try anything. Lu Mingshan burst out laughing after hearing that, his eyes curving, as if unsure what to say. After a while, he sighed, Wen Yan, you really are. Before he could finish, my phone rang. I glanced at the screen, immediately became serious, and held up a hand to Lu Mingshan. Hold on, personal conflicts aside for now, I have something important. Lu Mingshan frowned, what's so important? I cleared my throat, my boyfriend is calling. Lu Mingshan paused slightly, his expression also changing, your boyfriend? Of course not, I just said that to put up a front. But the caller was even more important than a boyfriend, it was my fishing buddy, a good guy who always shared ideal fishing spots. Ignoring Lu Mingshan's gloomy expression, I quickly answered, hello, what's up? Got some good news to share with me? Could it be another great new fishing spot? Remember to save a rod for me. On the other end was Mr. Zhang, who chuckled softly, is there anything else in your head besides fish? Your health checkup appointment has been scheduled, remember to go this Saturday. This Mr. Zhang, surname Zhang, looks like an ordinary tanned man on the outside, but is actually the vice director of a rather well-known private hospital in my area. Because he's well-connected and the hospital offers comprehensive checkups with discounts, my fishing group all choose to get their checkups there. Hearing that, my excitement was immediately doused with cold water, and I deflated. Got it, but when you're free, please share new fishing spots. I really loved the previous ones. Mr. Zhang laughed heartily, there is indeed a good fishing spot nearby, I'll test the waters for a few days, and I'll send you the location next week. I happily agreed, excitedly hanging up. As soon as I turned back, I saw Lu Mingshan's face as dark as ink. Suddenly remembering that we were still at odds, I wiped the cheerful expression off my face, cleared my throat. My boyfriend said that if you don't repent, when he finds a good fishing spot, he will definitely come and solo you in a fight. Lu Mingshan smirked, about to speak, when the coffee shop door suddenly opened. A police officer poked his head in, so you're here, little Lu. We need to go back to the welfare home again. Lu Mingshan was startled, instinctively asking, what's wrong? We just received a missing person report. The person is a teacher at the welfare home. Although I really wanted to know what happened next, after all, I was just an outsider. Moreover, Lu Mingshan's recent behavior was genuinely too strange, making me want to distance myself from him a bit. I'm going home. Right now. Seeing Lu Mingshan turn his head to look at me, I immediately replied. Then let me take. No need. I'll go myself. I'll walk. I quickly waved my hand, refusing. He probably didn't expect me to refuse so decisively, and he subtly pursed his lips, looking a bit annoyed. Wen Yan, things aren't what you think. I forced a smile, it's okay, I understand, I won't take it to heart. I'll write it in my notebook, stick it on my headboard, and recite every day, you are truly a genuine pervert. Lu Mingshan's lips moved, and he finally spoke, his voice faint as if out of breath, if anything happens, just contact me. I nodded perfunctorily. He added, calling, texting, WeChat are all fine. I became even more dismissive. Alright, I know, you go take care of your business. Only then did Lu Mingshan reluctantly leave, his expression clearly unwilling. The coffee shop immediately became quiet, and I breathed a sigh of relief. The first thing I did was take out my phone, and block Lu Mingshan's number. Call, text, WeChat? Dream on. I'm avoiding him. Would I just hand myself over? Besides, I don't even have him on WeChat. My friends list doesn't have anyone that handsome. Thinking this, I sighed. My online boyfriend was gone without a trace, and the handsome guy in real life was suspected of being a pervert. Women like us don't want to date simply because there's no one normal around. In the following days, Lu Mingshan didn't contact me again. But even if he did, I wouldn't know, because I had blocked him. After my health checkup on Saturday, I had free time in the evening and went fishing as usual. The weather had been cool recently, so there were many anglers. I had just set up my rod when I heard someone call from behind. "Little one." I turned around, smiling brightly. "Mr. Zhang. Done with your checkup?" As they set up their rods, the two chatted animatedly. "Yes, but when will the results be out, Mr. Zhang?" I asked while preparing the bait. "Probably next week, perhaps by Friday if it's fast." Mr. Zhang finished speaking, then leaned closer, lowering his voice mysteriously. "I heard, you caught a person last week? It's true that good news doesn't travel far, but bad news spreads like wildfire." I sighed helplessly. "Officer, your ears are quite sharp, aren't they?" Mr. Zhang immediately raised his voice. "Really? I thought those people were just talking nonsense." I quickly raised a hand to signal for silence, and Mr. Zhang, understanding, lowered his voice again. "Now everyone's spreading rumors. Some say it was a child in the suitcase, then others say it was a woman." "What was it, really?" I thought to myself, I don't usually see you this nosy, but now you're quite eager for gossip. But I couldn't reveal the specific details, so I could only awkwardly reply, "I don't know, I didn't dare to look then." Mr. Zhang nodded in agreement. "It's good you didn't look. You'd be haunted, have nightmares, it's not worth it." We fished for over an hour more but still came up empty-handed as usual. I was about to pack up my things when Mr. Zhang suddenly suggested, "I just found a great fishing spot, few people, lots of fish, want to try it?" I glanced at my bait box. "Let's save it for next time. I don't have any bait to use there today anyway." Mr. Zhang didn't press, just made plans for another time. Walking back to the parking lot, I turned on my light to pack my fishing gear. Right next to my car was an SUV. I recognized it immediately as Mr. Zhang's car. All anglers' cars look alike, dirty and old. I thought my car was already a disaster, but then I saw Mr. Zhang's car. The tailgate had several strange scratches and dents. I wonder where he hit them. He's a true angler, I silently marveled, then finished packing and drove off. I arrived home around 11. As soon as I parked downstairs, I saw a familiar figure. Lu Mingshan? Why was he here? I froze, slowly stopping the car and rolling down the window, full of doubt. "What are you doing here? I couldn't reach you lately." He looked at me, appearing tired. "I was worried something happened to you, so I came to check." Hearing that, I felt a little guilty. The reason he couldn't reach me was because I had blocked his number. Nothing happened to me. I just went fishing, and the signal there was weak, so I couldn't pick up. As I spoke, I secretly took out my phone and quickly unblocked his number. Immediately, my phone vibrated continuously, all missed calls from him. Lu Mingshan must have seen my small action, but he didn't expose me, just smiled faintly. "It's good that you're okay. It's late, go home and rest early." I subconsciously looked at him more closely. Under the light, his dark circles were obvious, he hadn't slept well for days. After a few seconds of silence, I still felt bad, so I mumbled, "Nothing's wrong with me. You don't need to worry about me anymore, understand what I mean? I have a boyfriend." Even if I didn't, his way of investigating what people liked would still creep me out, dropping him from ideal handsome guy to suspiciously psychologically unstable. Lu Mingshan's lips moved, and it took him a while to speak, his voice soft as if out of breath. "Wen Yin, is it because you don't like me, that you're pretending not to know? Huh? Why did the conversation suddenly jump to liking or not liking? I didn't say anything like that, did I?" My blank face must have been too obvious, so Lu Mingshan pursed his lips and then continued, "I'm sorry, I was just deluding myself." "Wait a minute." I opened the car door and ran after him, calling out, "Explain yourself." "Oh no, are you okay?" As soon as I touched Lu Mingshan's arm, I saw him suddenly sway. Luckily, I quickly caught him, otherwise he would have fallen flat on his face. Hey, don't blame me. I didn't do anything yet. Lu Mingshan bent over, clutching his calf, his face showing a little pain. I stood too long, my legs numb. I was stunned. How long have you been waiting for me? He pouted, less than an hour. Are you an idiot? I was utterly helpless. You couldn't reach me, couldn't contact me, so wasn't it clear there was a problem? Why did you still wait? Because I was worried about your safety. Lu Mingshan squeezed my hand tightly, his eyes deep. Wen Yen. Is it because you saw me that you don't like me? Wait a minute. What's this about liking? I was completely bewildered. It's true I felt a slight flutter because of his appearance, but we'd only known each other for less than half a month. What kind of love is this? Lu Mingshan seemed to realize something from my expression. His voice became incredulous. Half a month, Wen Yen. You still don't recognize who I am? What? I cautiously probed. Me, was I supposed to recognize something? Lu Mingshan looked as if he was about to faint from anger, closing his eyes and taking a few deep breaths to compose himself, then said, take out your phone, enter my number in the WeChat add friend search, then tap search. I did exactly as he said. Entered the phone number, searched. A name both familiar and strange suddenly appeared on the screen. I froze. A few seconds later, I slowly looked up at Lu Mingshan, who stood solemnly before me, then forced a smile. Hello, boyfriend. Who would have thought that Lu Mingshan was the online boyfriend with the nickname Deer in the Mountains? Lu Mingshan lowered his gaze, his voice carrying a hint of grievance. Just because I was busy pursuing criminals in another province and didn't have time to reply to messages for a few days, you wanted to break up with me? I opened my mouth, and it took me a few seconds to utter a few words. Well, at least you should have told me beforehand. Who in a relationship can stand their partner disappearing for 3 or 5 days like that? After hearing that, Lu Mingshan's expression became even more pitiful. I did tell you. I said I had a mission and couldn't disclose details, but before I left, I still messaged you that I would be very busy lately, and you didn't even pay attention. When I came back to message you again, you had already blocked me. Hearing this, I gasped. Damn it, it's true, I was so angry at the time that I blocked him, and then completely forgot. But, he said he sent a message to warn me? Why do I not remember anything at all? Lu Mingshan immediately pulled out his phone, intending to prove his innocence. The first thing that caught my eye was the name he saved me as in his contacts, girlfriend, met in person. Noticing me looking, he glanced over. Is it wrong? I dared not argue. On the chat interface, he had sent me many messages. For example, I can't believe I met you today. You're truly my fishing master. You didn't recognize me, but I'm not a pervert. Crying. Boyfriend? Besides me, how many boyfriends do you have? Without exception, all messages were marked with a huge red exclamation mark. The guilt multiplied with each unsent message. I quickly scrolled up, looking for earlier sections, and finally found the relevant line. Deer in the Mountains. My love, my work schedule has changed a bit lately, I'll be very busy. If I don't reply in time, don't worry, I'll message you as soon as I read it. Lu Mingshan really did send it. And I really didn't see that message at all. Absolutely impossible. Looking at his resentful eyes, I frantically opened my phone and flipped through the chat history. I really didn't receive it. I've never even deleted messages. I scrolled a few times and then held my phone out to him. Look. It's really not there. I didn't receive that message. Lu Mingshan also scrolled through it himself, frowning. How can that be? I stared at the phone screen for a few seconds, then slowly spoke. Have you ever heard of something called a fruit juicer that swallows heaven and earth? The name itself explains it, a fruit juicer that can swallow everything. Messages get stuck somewhere in the data vortex, neither sent nor received, thus disappearing completely. Lu Mingshan was silent for a few seconds, then gritted his teeth and said, You mean, Because of a phone, I almost lost my love? Afraid that he would smash his phone in anger, I immediately smiled sweetly. Oh, who said you lost it? Nothing's lost. My love, after a month apart, I missed you so much. Lu Mingshan stared at me for a few seconds, and finally couldn't help but tilt his head and chuckle. After laughing, he reached out and pinched my cheek to vent his frustration. Don't think a few sweet words and a cute face will make me forgive you. I blinked, then immediately lunged forward and hugged him tightly. Then, one more hug, ah. Lu Mingshan lost his footing, almost falling over from my sudden embrace. Luckily, he managed to grab onto the car hood, preventing us from kissing the ground together. What's wrong with you? I worriedly touched his face, probing. You're not having some kind of low blood pressure, are you? No. A true man couldn't stand the word weak, so Lu Mingshan immediately denied it. I just haven't eaten anything all day, so my blood sugar is a bit low. Why are you tormenting yourself so much? I hesitated for a few seconds after hearing that, then asked, both embarrassed and awkward, or, do you want to come up to my place? I'll order some food for you. Lu Mingshan chuckled, decisively leaning back on the car hood, gently stroking my neck. In a situation like this, shouldn't you normally offer to cook some porridge or noodles? I rolled my eyes, then go eat with the person who cooks porridge and noodles. Just kidding, I'm a man with a girlfriend now. Lu Mingshan patted my head. Of course, I'm going to my girlfriend's house. Back home, I ordered a bowl of wonton noodles from the nearest restaurant. Lu Mingshan sat in the living room, wearing disposable slippers, looking a bit awkward. It was funny to watch, so I teased him, why aren't you calling me baby anymore? His ears turned red. He was about to say something when his gaze unexpectedly fell on my display cabinet, and he immediately widened his eyes. Honey, why aren't you using the fishing rod I bought for you? I followed his gaze. It was indeed the gift he gave me on May 20th, a Daiwa rod, almost 2 million VND. I treasured it too much to use. Oh, and... Lu Mingshan seemed to suddenly remember something and asked me. Do you know a person named Shin Xiaohe? I shook my head blankly. Who? Lu Mingshan sighed. She's the missing teacher from the welfare home. The DNA results came back yesterday, confirming that the body in the suitcase is indeed her. I found it strange. Then why do you think I know her? Lu Mingshan replied, 1. Because you used to volunteer at the welfare home. 2. Because our technicians found some unusual substances on her body. After testing, it was identified to contain silver carp. At this, I suddenly understood. Oh my god, silver carp. I'm all too familiar with it. It's one of the classic baits. Could it be, this Ms. Shin Xiaohe was also an angler? I racked my brain, and among the anglers I knew in my group, there was absolutely no one with that name. Do you have a picture? Let me see. Lu Mingshan pulled out a photo for me. I looked at the young woman in the picture, both beautiful and sharp, and couldn't help but wonder. She doesn't look like an angler at all. Should I try asking in the fishing group? Lu Mingshan heard me and asked, she doesn't look like someone who goes fishing? She really doesn't. I zoomed in on the photo. Look at her neck. If you ignore the filter, her skin is smooth, not like someone who's constantly exposed to water. Shin Xiaohe's hand in the photo was slender, white, and soft. I looked at my own hand. I was about to show it to Lu Mingshan for comparison when I suddenly felt embarrassed. My hand was tanned, rough, neglected for years, constantly soaked in water and exposed to the sun. Just as I was still hesitating, my hand suddenly warmed. Lu Mingshan had taken my hand, gently raising it to his lips for a soft kiss. What you lose, you also gain. My baby is a fishing master. I chuckled. You're not being sarcastic, are you? Of course not. Lu Mingshan opened a shopping app and said, actually, I was planning to buy you a hand care set, but there were so many types, and I didn't know what you usually use, so I just added everything to the cart. Now you can look and choose. I glanced over, truly surprised. His shopping cart was filled with skincare products, hand creams, serums, all kinds of things women typically use. I froze. Are all these for me? Lu Mingshan lightly tapped my head. Who else? I don't have any other girlfriends. Then he opened his arms and pulled me into a hug, his voice a little aggrieved. You moved without telling me, blocked me, and still sent packages to your old address. All the items were returned, or the delivery guy got to enjoy them. Hearing that, my heart sank. I had to admit, as a boyfriend, Lu Mingshan was very good. He knew exactly what I liked, remembered every holiday, every small preference, cared about every little thing, and loved me completely. The only drawback: he often disappeared. Thinking this, I immediately pinched his cheek. If you dare to disappear again next time, just you wait and see what I'll do. I wouldn't dare. Lu Mingshan rubbed his head against my shoulder. You've already captured me, where else would I dare to run off to? Speaking of disappearing, I remembered Shen Xiaohe and asked, didn't she go to visit adopted families? Didn't you guys go to those homes to ask? Lu Mingshan sighed. We've contacted them, but those families all said Shen Xiaohe finished her visits quite early and should have returned to the city 3 days ago. After much thought, I still felt the welfare home was the most suspicious place, so I patted Lu Mingshan's shoulder. How about we go back and check it again? The next morning, Lu Mingshan and I returned to the welfare home together. As we approached the small square in front, we already heard arguing. It seemed a car visiting the children had reversed and hit a statue in the middle of the square. I vaguely remembered the location. There was an angel statue. To be honest, its placement was a bit inconvenient. If you reversed carelessly, it was very easy to hit the angel's wing. Hearing the commotion, Lu Mingshan and I didn't intend to interfere. We were about to walk past when I suddenly stopped because of a fleeting glance. That dent on the back of the car, why does it look so familiar? Oh my god! Isn't this the dent on Mr. Zhang's car? I'd been wondering what he hit to leave such a strange-shaped dent. Turns out it was half an angel wing. Hearing me, Lu Mingshan frowned slightly. Mr. Zhang? I hesitated, scratching my chin. He's the ex-boyfriend I mentioned earlier. What? Lu Mingshan's face looked like it was about to explode. Seeing that, I quickly explained the whole story from beginning to end, finally concluding, Mr. Zhang's car really does have a similar dent, but maybe I'm overthinking it. He might not have hit it here. Lu Mingshan didn't think so. If Shen Xiaohe wasn't an angler, how do you explain the silver carp bait on her body? And your Mr. Zhang happens to be an angler, and coincidentally has an identical dent. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? He spoke, emphasizing your Mr. Zhang with a hint of sourness, making me chuckle. Why are you so jealous? Mr. Zhang is almost 50, and he has 2 sons. Lu Mingshan smirked. Sounds like, you know him quite well, huh? I was caught between laughter and tears, grabbing his rambling mouth and pulling him in for a kiss. Be professional now, Officer Lu. Lu Mingshan immediately blushed like a ripe tomato. You couldn't give a warning? I blinked innocently. Do I need to file a report to KISS? Dating you has so many procedures, Officer Lu? He was speechless, mumbling for half a day, then just sulkily pinched my cheek. Do you believe me, I'll miss one? Suddenly, someone called me from the front. I looked up and saw, it was the director of the welfare home. Hello, Director Zhang, I greeted, then explained the reason for our visit. Director Zhang nodded, then let's go to my office to talk. I gestured to Lu Mingshan, then followed the director upstairs. I had never been particularly close to her before, just knew her by sight. Being this close for the first time, I looked at her and for some reason felt a bit strange. Have a seat. In the office, Director Zhang sighed. We never expected things to turn out like this. Xiao Shen has worked at the home for over 3 years. She was truly a very good teacher. We will definitely cooperate fully with the police investigation. She had said this to the police several times before. Lu Mingshan clearly wasn't in the mood for pleasantries and went straight to the point. Please provide detailed information again about the family's MS. Shen visited. The director turned her chair and looked towards the filing cabinet behind her. I have backup copies here. Those homes are all from the past 2 years, all within this stack of files." As she spoke, she took out several large document boxes. They looked heavy, probably at least 5 to 6 kilograms. Lu Mingshan and another officer began examining the documents, while I looked around the filing cabinet shelves. The cabinet was organized chronologically. The top shelves held files from recent years, the boxes were new, and the lower shelves held older ones. But, wait. I paused at the fourth shelf from the bottom. Why was there no box in that position? Was it taken by someone, or was a box missing from the beginning? That empty space. I looked to either side, estimating roughly, and the box that should have been in that position would likely contain adoption records from around 2020. Director Zhang saw my gaze lingering there and proactively explained that there were no related records due to the pandemic period. I nodded, but still felt something very strange inside. All the way from the welfare home, I kept thinking about that box. Lu Mingshan was also lost in thought, clearly pondering something. "So focused, what are you thinking about?" I lightly tapped his shoulder. Lu Mingshan snapped back to reality, raising his hand to describe the document box from earlier. "I'm looking at that missing box." I was surprised. "Why do you say that?" Lu Mingshan replied, "The autopsy report is out. Shin Xiaohe died from a severe blow to the head with a heavy object, causing cerebral hemorrhage. The size and angles of that type of document box are very similar to the victim's head wound." Hearing this, a sudden hypothesis flashed through my mind. Could it be Shin Xiaohe discovered something in the director's office, and then was bludgeoned to death with a file box? Perhaps what she discovered was related to that missing box. Lu Mingshan nodded. "I suspect the same. Now, let's go back to the bureau to get a search warrant." Since the police had work to do, it wasn't appropriate for a civilian like me to follow, so Lu Mingshan drove me home first. "I'm leaving now, remember to stay safe," he said. I waved. "Got it." Then I tried to open the car door, but it wouldn't open. I turned back and gave him a glance. "Aren't you going to unlock the car?" Lu Mingshan raised an eyebrow meaningfully. "Want to get out of the car? Have you asked permission?" I was blank for a second, then immediately understood his meaning, helplessly leaning in to lightly kiss his cheek. "You're truly too childish, Officer Lu." I intended to kiss and retreat, but unexpectedly, he held my neck, not forcefully, but enough to prevent me from moving. Lu Mingshan tilted his head, his lips almost touching the corner of mine. "Then let me show you how childish I can be. A report like this wouldn't be approved." I suppressed a laugh, feigning innocence. "So, what needs to be done to get approval to leave the car?" Lu Mingshan took a breath, and a second later, his lips pressed against mine, at least, like this. The kiss wasn't long, but when we separated, both of us were breathing a little heavily. His fingers gently caressed the back of my neck, his voice low and gentle. "The birthmark on your neck is beautiful, like a petal." I was slightly stunned, then suddenly understood. "Is that why you recognized me?" Back when we were dating online, I had told him about that birthmark. Not just that. Lu Mingshan exhaled softly, then leaned down again, gently and intimately touching my nose. "It's also because you are Wen Yin." It's because he liked Wen Yin. So no matter how many people there were, he only saw me. This guy, he really knows how to say sweet things. I watched him leave, feeling lighthearted and happy, wondering as I walked if I should reward him with something. It wasn't long after I got home that my phone vibrated. I picked it up and was surprised to see a message from Mr. Zhang. He said my health checkup results were ready and he could bring them to me since he was passing by. If it had been before, I probably would have been too embarrassed to bother him. But now, I genuinely had some suspicions about him. After thinking for a moment, I texted Lu Mingshan a quick message, then thanked Mr. Zhang and sent him my apartment complex's location. Less than 10 minutes later, Mr. Zhang's car arrived. It was still the same SUV, but this time it looked sparkling clean, clearly just washed. On the dashboard sat 2 naked boy dolls with wide, grinning faces. "It's a hassle for you to come all this way, I'm embarrassed," I said with a smile. As soon as the car stopped completely, I leaned down, greeting him through the already lowered window. "Thank you, Mr. Zhang." "No problem," he smiled. "It's on my way home, and I remembered you live this way, so I stopped by." He smiled faintly and handed me a folder of documents. I took it, pausing slightly. The thickness didn't seem quite right. "Mr. Zhang," I decisively opened it to check. Sure enough, some test results were missing from the folder. "This one doesn't have all the items." "Huh?" He frowned. "I brought it as soon as I saw the results. They must have accidentally omitted some items." He looked annoyed, thought for a few seconds, then opened the car door. "How about this, you get in the car now, and I'll drive you to the hospital to print another copy to be sure." I looked down at my phone, then nodded and got into the passenger seat. The private hospital was about 10 kilometers from my home. It was just past 2 in the afternoon, and the road was quite empty. Mr. Zhang drove like a madman. I looked at the 2 naked boy dolls on the dashboard, swaying with each turn, and then asked, "Mr. Zhang, I remember you once said you have 2 sons, right? You're truly blessed." He gave a somewhat forced laugh. "Blessed with what?" "One is studying for a medical PhD in the US, hasn't been home for 6 or 7 years. The other has been weak since childhood, has to take medicine every day." I casually continued, "What's wrong with him, Mr. Zhang? Is it a serious illness?" Mr. Zhang was silent for a few seconds. "Congenital metabolic liver disorder." I had heard of this disease before. There was no permanent cure, and often the only hope was an organ transplant. And Mr. Zhang was the vice director of a private hospital. Thinking of this, my heart trembled slightly. I suddenly remembered that the welfare home conducted annual health checkups for the children, and the sponsor providing the free checkups was Mr. Zhang's private hospital. Furthermore, the director and Mr. Zhang shared the same surname, Zhang. The atmosphere in the car immediately became stiflingly quiet. A moment later, I turned to look at him. "Did Shen Xiaohe discover something?" Mr. Zhang didn't answer. The entire car was so silent it was hard to breathe. I looked out the window. This road clearly didn't lead to the private hospital, but towards the outskirts of the city. Shen Xiaohe was a very good teacher. Unexpectedly, Mr. Zhang spoke. "But the problem is, she was too good, too responsible." He lit a cigarette as he spoke, the smoke blurring his face, making him look hazy. "The matter should have ended long ago. A child who was adopted, among thousands and tens of thousands of children adopted each year, no one should have remembered, no one should have mentioned him again. But Shen Xiaohe remembered. She even wanted to visit the boy." Mr. Zhang sighed, his voice trembling slightly. "I was helpless too. I'm a father. I just wanted my son to live." Zhang Qingyan had 2 sons. The eldest was studying for a medical PhD in the US, and hadn't returned to the country for 6 or 7 years. The youngest had been weak since childhood, and only received a liver transplant at the age of 10. The liver donor was a young boy Zhang Qingyan adopted in 2020. I once thought there was no hope left, and I was ready to give up. But right then, during the health checkup for the new children at the home, we found a compatible liver source. Mr. Zhang took a deep drag from his cigarette, his voice choked. "Do you know, humans are a species that cannot stand to see hope. Once a glimmer of light is seen, even if it means being torn to pieces, they will fight desperately to seize it." In the summer of 2020, he adopted that child. In the winter, he personally brought the child to the operating table. I didn't need the whole liver. Just half, even 40%. The liver is the only organ that can regenerate. A healthy person can recover almost completely after losing 60 to 70%. That boy didn't deserve to die. He shouldn't have died. But he overlooked one thing: when resistance is weak, even a common cold can be fatal. His own son was carefully cared for, resting in a discreet sanatorium. But that child was not. A high fever easily claimed his life. I'm grateful to that boy. I set up a grave, performed proper rituals, and even buried him in the most expensive cemetery in the city. Originally, no one would have known anything. Everyone would have just thought he died from the flu. But Xin Xiaohe, that bitch, she knew. She came to my house to visit, secretly went into my study, and then discovered everything. When he mentioned the teacher's name, Zhang Qing'an's face and voice immediately became distorted and tense. He violently stubbed out his cigarette in the ashtray, ignoring the sizzling sound of the burning leather seat, and said in a cold voice, "If it was just discovery, that would have been fine. But she even dared to go back to the welfare home, looking for the adoption records from that year? Didn't she know, Director Zhang and I share the same surname Zhang? Meaning, the director and Mr. Zhang are blood relatives?" I tried to keep a calm expression, but my hand gripped my phone tightly. "So, you and Director Zhang killed her in the office?" "Initially, we didn't intend to kill her." Zhang Qing'an exhaled, rubbing his face. At that time, I was a little agitated, couldn't control myself, and hit her head with the file box. She fell down immediately. I tried to help her up, but she didn't move. She lay motionless on the floor, feigning death. I knew what she was planning. I've met too many people like that. She was planning blackmail, she wanted to get leverage on us, she wanted money. That wretched woman, she didn't care about the child at all, she just wanted money. She didn't understand I did everything just so my son could live, she just wanted. "I don't think so," I interrupted him, looking down at my phone screen. "Xin Xiaohe wasn't trying to blackmail you. She cared about that boy because he was her biological younger brother." On the screen, Lu Mingshan had just sent me a picture. In the picture, Xin Xiaohe was holding a small boy, they looked very similar. Dark eyes, a high nose bridge, and when they smiled, their eyes curved, bright like sunshine. I looked at them smiling in the photo, and my nose suddenly tingled. "Just as you tried to save your son, she only wanted to find her lost younger brother." As soon as the words left my lips, the atmosphere in the car fell silent. Zhang Qing'an stared blankly ahead, showing no reaction. I let out a soft breath, also looking at the road ahead. "You probably understand that the police will find you soon. And the fact that you still came to meet me at this time. I can only infer one thing." I lowered my head, looking at the thin examination report in my hand, my voice turning cold. "I heard that if there are no serious complications, the 5-year survival rate for liver transplant patients can be over 85%. Calculated, it's already been 5 years. What's wrong? Is your son not doing well? Do you need to find a new organ donor?" That question seemed to jolt Zhang Qing'an awake. He spun around, gripping my arm tightly, his voice trembling with pleading. "Xiao Wen, I beg you, save the boy. He's only 15, he hasn't had a proper education, hasn't been out to play even once. Just half a liver. You'll be fine, truly fine." "That boy hasn't had a proper education? Then did the boy who died donating his liver to your son ever get an education?" I forcefully pulled my arm away from him, my eyes filled with hatred. "He hasn't been out to play? Then did that boy ever get to see a better world? Do you know, for children living in orphanages, being adopted is what they long for the most. They try to behave well every day, just to have a home." I looked directly into his pale face, coldness and indignation spreading from my heart throughout my body. "That boy must have been so happy when you chose him, when he was brought home. When he shyly called you dad, he mustered so much courage. When he tried to fit into your family, he put in so much effort. Yet, what did you give him? You said you would give him a family, but what you took was his life. Zhang Qing'an, when you cut off half a liver from that boy's body, did the image of him calling you father ever cross your mind?" His fingers trembled, his lips moved, his eyes were red, but in the end, he only managed to say tremblingly, "I had no other choice. I just wanted to save my son. I didn't want to hear any more self-serving excuses." I leaned against the car door, my voice icy cold. "Don't even dream of taking me for a liver transplant. I already reported to the police earlier. The best thing you can do now is pull over and surrender." "No way." Zhang Qing'an immediately snapped back to reality, stepping hard on the accelerator, his face showing desperate madness. There's still time. The police won't get here that fast. As long as I can get you into the operating room, as long as you're on the operating table, my son will live for another 5 years. 10 years. I ask you, what about 10 years from now? I gripped the overhead handle tightly, trying to stay calm. You know very well how much a second organ transplant affects the body, don't you? Moreover, your son's health was already weak. You know better than anyone that each surgery pushes him closer to death's door. It's not even certain if he'll survive the rejection phase, and you're already dreaming of the next 10 years? Zhang Qing'an's expression changed slightly upon hearing this, but he still gritted his teeth, pressing the accelerator and driving straight, showing no intention of stopping. The car quickly left the city center, finally braking in front of an abandoned sanatorium. He took a deep breath, turned to look at me, his face twisted and maniacal. Just as he was about to make a move, bang! A gunshot rang out. A bullet pierced through the front windshield, accurately hitting Zhang Qing'an's shoulder. At that very moment, the car door behind me flew open. I fell backward, directly into a familiar and warm embrace. Wen Yan. It's okay, you guys arrived just in time. In the police car, I gently stroked Lu Mingshan's nape, comforting him softly. I really wasn't scared at all, I knew you were always close by. But Lu Mingshan wasn't doing so well. He held me tightly, half his face buried in the hollow of my neck. I was so worried about you, Wen Yan. You were facing a murderer, a vicious criminal. I was afraid something would happen to you. As he spoke, his grip tightened, holding me close and not letting go. I shouldn't have left you alone at home, you should always be by my side. I was both touched and amused, so I comforted him first. Okay, from now on I'll stick to you like a little tail, alright? Lu Mingshan hummed softly in his throat, and I quickly changed the subject. How are things at the children's home? Bloodstains were found in the director's office, confirming it as the primary scene. The director has confessed and been arrested, he said. I nodded. I already felt something was off with that director that day. She didn't walk like someone with severe rheumatism at all. Those days she disappeared were probably spent disposing of the body with Zhang Qing'an. Who would have thought someone would kill and hide a body to save their child? Even if he dies, he won't escape it. If he lives, he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. It's just a pity for Zhang Qing'an's 2 children. What 2 children? Lu Mingshan looked up at me. Zhang Qing'an only has 1 son. His eldest son died in a plane crash abroad several years ago. I was slightly stunned, then sighed softly. No wonder he fought so desperately to save his youngest child. So it turns out, he only had 1 child left. But isn't the lives of other children not valuable? The lives he took for his personal selfishness, those children were truly wronged. Have you found where the boy Zhang Qing'an adopted was buried? I leaned against Lu Mingshan's shoulder, my voice slightly choked. I want to bury Shen Xiaohe in the same place as him, so the 2 siblings can be together. Lu Mingshan gently stroked my hair. Okay, I'll arrange it. The atmosphere inside and outside the car became quiet, only the sound of the wind rustling through the grass remained. Soon after, a police officer emerged from the sanatorium, his expression slightly grim. Inside, there is indeed a professional medical team, and a teenager around 15 years old. But the child's condition is very poor. The doctor also said that even with a second transplant, the chances of survival are still very low. I pursed my lips, unsure what to say for a moment. Lu Mingshan held my hand, gently squeezing my fingertips as if to reassure me. Life is so fragile, Lu Mingshan. I looked towards the horizon where the sun was slowly setting, whispering, just an illness, or someone's words, or a thought, can take a life so easily. Lu Mingshan softly hummed in agreement, then leaned his head down and kissed my forehead. I will protect you, Wen Yan. Your heartbeat, your blood flow, your breath, everything that belongs to you, I won't let anyone take it away. I looked up, met his eyes for a few seconds, then offered a curving smile. Closing the half-inch gap, I gently touched his lips. I know. Our lives, inherently, should not be threatened or controlled by anyone. May the long road ahead be shared only with the things we love. The end.